Hi everybody, I'm Michelle Carre and welcome to Your Delicious Life, where each week we take a look at life through a different perspective and we either learn something new or we get reminded of something that we already knew. This week's episode is called Quality, Not Quantity. Now, when I do my talk, the main thing that I want to express to people is that life is not about balance, it's about ratio. In fact, work-life balance is bullshit. So when you switch your thinking and you shift it to seeing life being about ratio and not about creating some sort of balance, you really think about the quality of time that you're spending and the quality of the things that you're doing in each area of life, because it could be smaller amounts or greater amounts depending on how much ratio you have for it. So this is especially true when it comes to our kids. Now, there are a lot of things that kind of start to change in our lives as our kids get older that can interrupt the amount of time that we have with them. Now, of course, there's times when we feel like there's a lot of time with our kids and we could maybe use a little bit less, but there are definitely times where we feel like we're not getting enough time with them. Now, things that can get in the way of time with our kids are 1-hour jobs. You know, if you're working outside the home, maybe you only have time with your kids for a couple of hours in the evening. And if your kids are in school full time, well, you don't have the same full days that you used to when they were a bit younger. And if you are a stay-at-home parent, you might be around your kids a lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have quality time with them because you're trying to get stuff done as well, whether it be around the house or running errands or different volunteer commitments. The list is endless, right? So when we are with our kids, we want to take advantage of that time so it really is quality. So how do you make the most of the time you spend with your kids? Well, the first tip I have is to ask them what they like to do and do that thing with them. It could be a sport of some kind. Maybe it's throwing the ball or playing street hockey or something like that. Maybe they are more artistic and it's about a craft, or maybe it's building something like Lego or blocks, or maybe they're a bit older and they like shopping or going to the movies, or maybe you guys could read the same book and chat about it if they love reading. But ask them what it is that they like to do and find a way to have an activity or time together doing that thing, because that will definitely bring you closer and it's more quality time. I mean, sometimes we can get caught up thinking, all right, I have to go to the grocery store. I'll take the kids, spend some time with them. You and I both know that's not very quality time, because they're asking for stuff through the grocery store, maybe they're arguing about things, and they're going to negotiate about whether or not they can get the free cookie from the bakery. So it's not really quality time. You're really just trying to get something done and get it done quickly. And yes, we're spending time together, but we're not necessarily interacting in a way that has a lot of quality with it. So if you really want to spend good time with them, it doesn't matter how much time, but do something that they love to do. Another tip is to seize opportunities. We spend a lot of time in the car with our kids, whether we're driving them to practice or rehearsal or lessons, to work, to school. There's a ton of time that we spend behind the wheel with the kids in the back seat. So next time you're in the car, turn off the phones, turn off the iPads, turn off the in-system video, and have a conversation with them. And ask them open-ended questions. So we all know that if you ask a kid, how was your day? You're going to get, good, fine. Or if you're lucky, you might get, meh, just a grunt, really fun. So you want to ask them questions that actually get them talking. Things like, what was the best part of your day? Who did you spend time with at recess? How was the math test you were talking about? What are you learning about in science? What book are you guys reading in English? Those kinds of questions that are more specific and actually require them to answer. Now, it might be a short answer, but usually you can follow it up with something where, did you find that difficult? Are you enjoying that book? What do you think about that subject? And you can start a bit of a conversation. And that is an amazing thing to do with your kid because, one, it shows them that you're interested in what they're doing. But two, it allows them to be an expert. And what I mean by that is they're an expert in their own lives and what's happening for them. And when we give them a moment to be the expert in the conversation and share what's happening with them, it builds up their confidence. And ultimately, that's what we want to do as parents, is build our children's confidence so that they feel great when they interact with people in the world and they can hold conversations with other people. The other advantage to having these conversations is that it teaches them how to have conversations. So maybe in the beginning, you're asking the questions about their day and who they spent with and what they think about things. But as time goes on, you can obviously share what's happening in your day, and maybe they'll start to ask you without you just telling them about your day. So the conversation might start out with, who did you have lunch with today? And they respond, with the name of their friend. Oh, did you have fun? That was good. And then maybe you add in, yeah, I had lunch with whomever you had lunch with that day, and it was really great because, and you add some little anecdote. Well, maybe after a few times you have this conversation, you ask the initial question to them, and then they respond and say, yeah, I had lunch with so-and-so. Who did you have lunch with today, Mom? And now they're learning how to have an exchange with people and a back and forth, and listen to what is being said to them and think about thoughtful questions that they can ask in return. And ultimately, this is a great skill because as we are more dependent on the digital world, we tend to lose the skill for having conversations. So it's a great way to build that skill within our kids and keep it going for the rest of the world and the people in it, so that we just don't all talk behind a screen all the time. Kids don't count the minutes that we spend with them. They don't sit there at the end of the day or the end of the week saying, I spent this many minutes with Mom or this many minutes with Dad. They just don't do that. What kids remember are the moments that we spend with them. They remember the lessons that we've taught them, the advice we've shared with them, the stories that we've told them. Those are the things that stick with them, and those are the things that shape them into the people that they become. So when it comes to your kids, it really is about focusing on the quality of time you're spending with them, focusing on sharing those lessons and telling those stories and giving that advice to them and listening to them and learning about what's happening in their life and helping them get through it in a way that allows them to grow as a person and encourages them to keep moving forward. That's what life is about. That's what parenting is ultimately about. It's about the quality of time with our kids, not the quantity. So as you go forward this week, think about different ways that you could spend more quality time with your kids and stop worrying about exactly how many hours or minutes it is, because that in the end doesn't matter. It's about the quality time with them. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are sitting there thinking, okay, this is helpful, Michelle, but this is just one area, and I feel like I don't have the right ratio in a lot of different areas of my life, and I'm not sure how to manage them, think about coming to the workshop on November 4th here in Airdrie. It's from 9 to 3. It's at the Embrace Bridal Center. They have a beautiful event space. I'm going to be having photos up of it soon, but it's just a gorgeous space, and the workshop is all about figuring out what it is you ultimately want in your life and then setting goals and creating a plan to make it happen. I just don't want to talk about theory the whole day. I want you to take action. I want you to do the work in the workshop. And we are going to be, like I said, in this beautiful space. You're going to feel inspired. You're going to be surrounded by like-minded people. And you're just going to have a chance to really sit back, think, and focus on what it is that you want in your life. So join us if you can. Go to the website, michellecarre.com, and if you click on workshops, Create Your Delicious Life is right at the top there, and you can buy your tickets to it. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you next week. Take care, everyone.